Yes, it is a June 2015 month of the Sacred Heart, and traditionally one of the most popular months to get married. And but unfortunately, at the cultural level, marriage is upon attack. Yeah, obviously, last month Ireland voted by popular vote to legalize gay marriage, and any day now, the U.S. Supreme Court is expected to rule the same thing. So we got to pray really hard for traditional marriage and family values. Now, this little this video here, relatively short one, um, I got to bring this up and warn you, faithful Catholics in Massachusetts, more particularly the Archdiocese of Boston, because in the June 12th edition of the Pilot, which is the Archdiocesan newspaper, they published this insert right here. I'm holding it up. I'm just gonna hold it up on this side, okay? Called "Your Wedding." And this is the cover with the couple on it and all that stuff. Now, well, while it seems like a good idea to actually have a little brochure on the marriage prep and pre-Cana, I would like to open it up here and read you some of the things, some of the news articles here that they have in here too, and then some of the advertisements they even sold to help pay for this, mass produce this thing. Now there are some good things, like make sure you're on time. Bride should not, arrive late, like in some cultures they do. Obviously, that is a very unacceptable custom in the United States of America, or it shouldn't be accepted anywhere. But the rule is you should be ready when your priest is ready. But then they have this Vatican Catholic news service that the headline on page two, actually page, they listed as page 3. They consider page 1 is the cover, and then they have this article here, which says, I don't know if you can read it here because of the light. This is not a very good lighting, but it says Pope urges engaged couples to take time, be open to God's surprises. Now, it seems like a good idea, but like the Pope says something, this I would probably say this is infallible. This quote from Francis: "The covenant of love between a man and a woman, a covenant for life, cannot be improv- improvised. It cannot be done from one day to the next." And then he also quotes, "There's no such thing as, quote, an express marriage." Okay, so, but the first paragraph, this article by Laura Irasi, it says couples who are seeking to marry, even those who have lived together, should value their engagement period as a time to grow and mature in love and profound knowledge of each other, said Pope Francis. So, so this also tells you that obviously if they publish this article, okay, they and then the Holy Father is saying, well, oh, it's okay to sleep together before you marry. Well, that's not what dogma tells you. It's actually can't. I forgot which canon on top of my head. It's in my little book I wrote on it. That actually living together, they call it public proprietary cubanage. If you live together, you cannot validly marry in the Catholic Church according to that canon. So wait till the synod comes in October. They'll probably get rid of that, which is not a good thing. Now on pages 4 and 5, they have an article, actually it's a rerun by Father Wendell Verrill, priest of the archdiocese, and and it's entitled "Some Priests Dislike Weddings." Okay, and I like to read some excerpts of it. Okay, the whole thing's long, but I'm going to read some very important excerpts from it. Okay, this paragraph says, "Indeed, after one such interview recently, the prospective bride said brightly that they were glad the church was unlocked since they wanted to see what it looked like inside. They have ended their religious education with the sacrament of confirmation in grade 10 and haven't been seen inside of any house of worship, of course, for weddings of friends. They spent precious little time in church before confirmation, were dropped off at religion class, and no one thought to extend their participation to include the Sunday liturgies which bracketed those classes. I am often tempted to ask them to bless themselves to see if they can remember at least that much." And then also Father also he goes on about how many kids does the couple plan to have, blah blah blah. Then he writes here in this next paragraph, "I have learned to ask as little as possible. Sometimes just the address would be enough to warrant a log, heartfelt chat, since it is immediately obvious the couple is already cohabiting. They say, well, it's a two-family, Father, and he lives in the apartment above. One blinks eyes and asks for the telephone number, suspecting that if they were different, one is Granny's." Okay, this is obviously interesting, especially when I first read it yesterday. Um, and the next paragraph says, "Most Catholic couples are well aware that they are on shaky ground, and so they don't make absurd demands as might be the case in other traditions. Parachutes and hot air balloons come to mind." And then he goes on later on and he says, "There was a time when I thought I, as celebrant, actually controlled the service. I have since learned that until they get to the altar, the photographer is the person really in charge. He will rearrange the procession, indicate the time of departure from the foyer, and generally slow things down by about 20 minutes. And then photographers and videographers can increase an officiant's blood pressure by at least 40 points on the systolic. Some will be professional enough to inquire as to make boundaries. Others simply take the attitude that easier to ask for forgiveness than permission." Okay. And then he goes later on, he says, "Finally the big music starts. The wedding party, as opposed to the even grandparents or parents of the bride, come down the aisle. The best man still has time to hit the bathroom once more. I could probably grab a quick shave, such as the speed of this procession. Finally, we are all arranged in this sanctuary, and the service begins 25 minutes late. The Lord be with you," I fairly shout to the congregation, and a deafening silence returns. Clearly, this is brand new territory for most. and then and then the last paragraph says the man of God has done his job, noting the priest. He will never see them again, like the couple, which is common a lot of times that a lot of couples are using. So what Father is saying here is that a lot of couples they use the church, and then they take advantage of the sacraments. I mean not just the weddings, but obviously all the religious ed. Sometimes some parishes it's free, some they charge a fee. It depends. It should be free, but assuming even if it is, they do that and then they don't go back to mass again. So much for the Vatican II revolution. That's what it means. It means, oh, you don't have to go to mass every Sunday. Well, and then and then a and then below the end of that article, here's an ad here from Glastonbury Abbey, which is in Hingham, which is on the South Shore of Boston in the Archdiocese, and apparently they're advertising you can get married there. But if you look very closely, okay, very closely, I'm going to bring this up to the camera closely, you can see, okay, and I'm going to block the couple's identity out, okay, for privacy a little bit, okay, that bride is wearing a strapless gown. So there you go. The Archdiocese, the pilot, which is run by the Archdiocese on the offices of the Cardinal, allowed this Benedictine monastery, who allows the, the woman brides to wear a strapless dress and, and have their wedding there. So that is kind of tacky, and I think it is inappropriate. I think the strapless dress for during the in the for the church part is inappropriate. At the reception, I could care less, but it depends on. But I mean, that's another thing for another day. And then they tell about the quotes from foryourmarriage.org, run by the USCCB. They have no authority in the church to begin with, so I'm not going to even go near that. Okay? And then on page 13, they make mention of the legal civil requirements in Massachusetts. Let me read this quote. You do not have to be a state resident to get married in Massachusetts, but you must obtain a valid marriage license issued by a Massachusetts city or town clerk. And out of state cannot be used. And it says you must be 18. You must not marry a close relative. Okay, whatever. They're only paraphrasing. They're not quoting the actual law here. But then the last bullet paragraph says, if either person was previously married, joined in a civil union, a registered domestic partnership, or other legally binding relationship recognized by another state, this relationship must be legally dissolved, i.e., divorce must be final before applying for a Massachusetts marriage license. It's actually got to be final for 30. You got to wait 30 days to file for another license. Actually, they don't say that. But this comes to show you that they're saying, well, if you were in a gay marriage beforehand, you can get a divorce. We can marry you. Well, good luck on that. And then they also give a little bit, congratulations on your engagement. This is a real exciting blah, blah, blah. And then they make a note on page 14 that we highly recommend you attend a natural family planning course. This information in this class is invaluable and will help straighten your marriage. Well, guess what? No, it won't. NFP is birth control. It is the post-conciliar Vatican II artificial language to accommodate to the world and to use a Planned Parenthood term, borderline at least, to say that, oh, you can, as long as you abstain from intercourse, you can, and don't, as long as you abstain, that's okay, even on even on days, even if you don't have a serious illness, or you're in the military or something. It would be permissible then by common sense. But otherwise, there that I think is I would not go to one, okay, at all. I would never go to an NFP course, okay, because I have, and I'm actually happy to say this, I have spent all my years in no sexual relationship, and I will not go in one until I marry my future Catholic wife, whoever it is. I don't know who it is yet, but until then, you have to practice chastity, okay? And then after that, and then that's also a ripoff because you're not performing the marital act to actually potentially have as many kids as God chooses for you, not the person's. So that's that. And also they have the Archdiocesan Pre-Cana courses. Okay, they list the upcoming schedule here, but they say you have to attend at least 2 sessions to for it to count. So that's what that says. And then they have a little box here, a little ad, okay, right here about marriage paperwork, okay? So let's see if I can read that. It's on the screen. Let me read that, okay? Let me read the first. Yeah, I want to show it here so I can read it. Okay, here we go. This is not a professional editing job, but at least I get to show you. Okay, I don't care about the phone number. Okay, it says all marriage paperwork is handled through the Metropolitan Tribunal. If you are engaged and have any questions what marriage paperwork you need or the status of your paperwork, please blah blah blah, call the tribunal. Okay, now let me explain that. Okay, based on what that said, okay, based on what that little thing, advertisement on the last page said, okay, that if you are going to get married in a parish in the Archdiocese of Boston, okay, it pretty much says that the parish priest has no say, has no immediate say or immediate jurisdiction over marriage preparation, which is a violation of canon law altogether. The priest, it's supposed to be the couple with the priest at the parochial level, and that's it. Okay, as far as planning and determining what date, and even because how it would normally go is that you fill out the application, whatever the priest gives you. You fill it out. You bring your sacramental certificates, and then if it's proven that you are free to marry and you are Catholics in good standing, then he will book the date from there, and then they work from there for whatever course. And but a good traditional priest would actually do it one-on-one or send you to a tradition-minded Pre-Cana course. There are some, but there's not too many, and I don't think there are any too many or any at all in New England. So I don't obviously, but as far as I know, there is one place where they have options to send weekend retreats, and in this place, this retreat, the espousal center, I've obviously I've heard a bunch of heresies there. They let the couple sleep together, and they're not, obviously they're not married. They're only engaged, and blah blah blah. That's no good. But what I am going to say is that unless you have, that this is very emotional here, but what I'm going to say is that yeah, what I'm going to say is that most parishes do not care about about married couples, and it is very difficult to get married, especially. And then if you're an Orthodox traditional Catholic like me, trying to get the traditional Latin nuptial mass, most places will not do it. Even if I don't, even with Samorum or not, most places will not do it. And then if you meet, and then there's the thing, tradition, oh, you should marry in the bride's parish. Well, if the bride, say the bride wants to become a trad, wants to go, but was her residential or her childhood parish was a Novus Ordo parish, and then if the parents get pissed off at me and all that stuff, well, that's just, you know, according to the law, I go to the TLM. According to the law, I have to marry with the TLM. Period. Okay? And if for some reason the archdiocese will not allow a an Orthodox Pre-Cana court, that is steeped on the days of old of Casti Connubii back, okay? If they won't allow it, then I have the right to go elsewhere, even if I have, even if we have, even hypothetically, if I were engaged today, it might be quite possible that you or I or any future person who wishes to marry in a Catholic wedding in Boston in the future, you might have to go have it at a neutral site. You might have to rent the space and